So first and foremost, I always like to start these events by just saying welcome to everybody who's joining us today for today's webinar presentation. My name is Sean Kozak, the CEO of Tickblaze. I normally spearhead the architectural side of the business. I work with the development team. I work with all the traders. I work in the trenches, so to speak, building systems and working with all of the instructors and ultimately the system architectural side of the business. And this is a marketplace event. We're launching an algo to the product line, and this is not just some random strategy. There's a lot of information that goes behind this system, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of traders, what happens is they see that we launch strategies or that we bring trading systems to the industry, and I think it's important to just make note of the fact that that's our business model. Our business model is to build systems and to design systems and to sell systems. Like that is the mandate, right? It's very different than just say having a one trading strategy kind of business, right? Where if you follow an influencer, maybe they sell a course, etc. They have one way of trading, etc. We're a software development company. What that means is we build systems and we consistently build systems and we always build strategies for traders. And it's what we do. And we have a very big process that goes into building strategies. We don't just decide, oh, we're going to have an algo today, and then there it is, right? Like we have R&D that's built into what we do. We have development teams that are built into what we do. And we also have a testing team that is built into what we do. And when all three things line up and we have a great strategy, we bring it to the marketplace. And so I want to talk a little bit about the Wicker Algo, what it is, what it's designed to do. And I'm sure some of you have basically seen the market do an explosive move after a reversal, right? I'm sure a lot of you have seen the market will give you a reversal and then all of a sudden, wham, there's a big explosive move or a big leg that comes out of the market. And what a lot of you don't realize is that when you modify price candles and you use different types of bars to identify the data, there's alpha in understanding different custom bars, right? And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how to exploit that alpha, how we see it, how we identify the move inside of the hybrid bars, and then how we've developed a custom strategy around using the wicks inside of price legs to create huge opportunities. And this isn't some new strategy. We built this on NinjaTrader for years. We have thousands of traders all over the world that have seen this system. We've got hundreds of traders trading it. We've got influencers, traders that have used this strategy that's come onto our webinars in the past and share their success. What's nice is that we're finally able to bring it into Tickblaze, right? We had built it for years on the other side of the company ecosystem, and now we finally brought it over to the Tickblaze marketplace. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about the Wicker Algo and how it pertains to price action traders. Now, because we are doing a webinar, we are recording it. We'll send you a replay in case you want to watch it after. And if you have any questions, just put it in the chat box. We'll get to it after when we do some Q&A at the end. Okay, now stick around. We're going to be giving away a free license at the end of the webinar, and then we'll be going over the discounts and the launch promos and everything as we do this inside of the event. Okay, now we need to cover a quick disclaimer because we're in the markets. We're dealing with trading and strategies and performance, etc. It's important to note that I'm not your broker or your CTA, and I'm not here to give you advice. And obviously, if you do place risk capital in the markets, I have no outcome in your trades, right? So past performance never guarantees anything in the future. And it's always required by law that I put that in here. So could you guys please type a Y in the chat box that you understand and accept the disclaimer and we can move forward like professionals? Yes? If you have any problems with the legal disclaimer, then please leave, right? We can't do anything about it, right? So thank you. So one of the things that I like to do and I like to talk about in trading is just why are we doing this, right? Like as a trader, the only goal that you should technically have is to make as much money as possible and limit your downside, right? The goal is to be able to provide an environment where you can make a lot of money, reduce the risk, and have an opportunity to throttle your upside. And one of the things that I love about Algos is it allows me to use data to validate what we do. We're not just sitting here giving you some idea. It's not some random concept that I just come up with. It's an actual strategy that we've put through the testing processes. We've optimized it. We've identified the best conditions, the best bar sizes, the best time frames, the best markets. And it allows us to just come at it from a data-driven approach. There's no fluff. There's no bullshit. There's no shiny object here. It's literally just a performance-driven presentation that allows us to show you the potential of using this type of a system and strategy for your trading business, right? And at the end of the webinar, if you like what we're doing, you can ultimately participate in using the software and the strategy because of what it does, right? So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. We're going to talk about automation. We're going to talk about the concept between man versus machine. We're going to talk about the algo engine and what it's designed to do for the systems that we trade. Then we're going to go into this strategy and what it's designed to do and why we're trading it and how amazing it is and how simple it is, right? We'll do a quick demo on performance. And then after this, we'll do a giveaway. And then we're going to talk about the free license and everything so that you guys can get, participate in what we're doing. Okay. So first and foremost, this is a trading signal you can see here in this image. And if you notice, there's nothing else but just a straight line of price candles, right? What we've done with this strategy, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you other images here today. We're going to do some demos, we're going to do some videos, etc. But what we've done with this strategy is we've modified the bars. And we've modified the bars so that ultimately we don't really have a lot of movement. We have one straight line in price. But if you take a look, there's a bunch of wicks here, okay? Now, if you change the bars on, say, other time frames, if you use range bars or you change the rotation of the Renkos or use time charts, you would normally see probably a zigzag here, a pullback, right? That would be like this in the market. But because we've built the custom bars to do what we wanted to do, all we do is we just get wicks. And these wicks tell a story. And that's exactly what we're going to do today is we're going to exploit the wicks. We're going to use the wicks as evidence to show us when there's an explosive move about to happen. And this is the whole benefit of the strategy. This is not some indicator-based system. This is 100% pure price action. And you're going to find that this type of a trading system can produce a lot of revenue and a lot of income if you understand what it's doing. Okay. So a couple things. Traders struggle with emotions. It's the reality. And if you go and you start trading, a lot of us will have issues with execution, not being able to place trades at the right time. Sometimes you miss trades, you don't have a plan. Sometimes you're not fast enough and the market leaves you behind and you miss an entry or just execution becomes an error. Sometimes you make mistakes or your read on the market's not 100%. And with discretionary trading, there's an evident reality of just humanness, right? We're humans and we have mechanical issues that we bring to the table. And it's not by lack of better word of saying we don't do it on purpose, right? We don't get up and say, well, geez, I want to make some mistakes today. And we don't get into the market and say, oh my God, like I think I want to just sabotage my business today. No, what we do is we automate and we fix the problems, right? We use solutions by using computers to fix the problems because traders can be emotional creatures. We bring emotions, we bring ego, we bring anything that we can, cognitive abilities, right? And what ends up happening is when we come in and we ultimately, oh, bear with me, guys. Somebody's at my door. 1 second. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. I apologize there. I had I live in Mexico and they bring water to the house and I'm the only one at the house. So what happens is the the dog starts going crazy and then the waterman's at the door. So I apologize for that. It's not on purpose, but I'm here now. So everybody can hear me okay? Appreciate your patience on that. And once again, I didn't plan that, but Okay, so let's talk about this, right? When we're dealing with man versus machine, okay, you have automated strategies, and what automated strategies do is you ultimately reduce the noise. You don't have the issues that you have with humans, right? If you use a system and you use a strategy to fix the entries, you can increase the efficiency. You can remove the human emotions. You can ultimately use the computers to fix what we don't purposely do in the business. But my favorite of all of this is the data. Like, I really spend a lot of time on the data because it's really about evidence to me. Like, if I'm going to trade a strategy, I don't want to trade a strategy that I don't have enough data to make the decision, right? So what does that mean? Well, if I have two trading systems, right? And here's the equity curves. Over here, we're manual traders, and over here, we're algo traders, right? As a manual trader, if I want to have a sample size and I want to go back and say, okay, how did the strategy perform, right? How did the trading system do in the past? Well, in order for me to identify that, I would have had to trade the strategy. I would have had to mark up the charts. I would have had to go back and either visually queue up the entries or trade them in a simulator so I could verify if the strategy works. And maybe you have 50 trades, maybe you have 100 trades, maybe you got 20 if you're lucky. Some traders don't even log their trades. And therefore, you might have a little bit of a track record that looks like this, and then the rest is this because you stop, or maybe you don't have any at all. Whereas this, I can literally put it into a computer system, I can run the optimization, and I can identify a back test. Maybe the back test does this, and then it does that, and then it does this. And then I take it through what we have, the Algo engine. We have a piece of software that we're going to show you today that I can take a strategy that looks like this, and I can turn it into something that looks like this by using the right settings, identifying the right settings, the right stops, the right targets, the right. So what am I doing by using the software? I'm able to take a strategy that I may not even have data for. Then I can bring it over and I can actually make a data driven decision because now I have a strategy that I have evidence that makes me money or at least made money in the past. Right. And as a trader, we're more likely to want to trade something that A, we see is working, B, there's evidence that it's working, and C, that I have some belief behind it, right? Because I can actually use the data to make the decisions. I very rarely trade a strategy unless I'm able to trade it, log the statistics, or use the data to give me the confidence to want to trade it. I've been in this business far too long for me to just want to put my hard-earned money into the market, knowing how difficult and how random it is. And that's where algos and automation can really be a benefit. How many of you guys would rather trade a strategy that you don't know, or you have a strategy that goes up and to the right because you have data? Put a D in the chat box if you'd rather trade a data-driven strategy versus, I don't know. Because clearly it all makes sense, right? Like, data makes the most sense. Like, why would we ever want to risk something unless we know? Perfect. So let's talk about the Wicker Algo for a second. Okay. The Wicker Algo is basically this. What we do is we take Renko bars and we jack them up drastically. Basically, what we're doing is we're changing the reversal massively. So what does this mean? Well, if we take a Renko, maybe the Renko is normally 10 tick reversal and maybe a 5 tick offset. You would normally get a Renko chart that would look normal. But if we take this reversal and we change it to like a 30 or a 50 or even 100, we're going to get a chart that looks like this. And the reason we do this is because it completely changes the scope of how you see the market. And this would normally be an uptrend on a normal chart. You would have a leg up, you would have price, you would have a pullback, you would have another pullback, you'd have another pullback, you would come up right. But because we modify the Renko, we have it takes a very, very big reversal to turn the market. And then you don't get pullbacks. Like, what you get is you get wicks. And these wicks tell a story because it takes a lot to reverse the market. And if the wicks don't reverse the market and create one of these bars, it's going to create wicks. And when the wicks fail to reverse the market and then it stops and goes the other way, our strategy is going to execute right at the close of those wicks and we're going to get explosive moves. This strategy is fire. It executes clean. There's no lag. There's no indicators. All we're doing is we're modifying the visualization of the price action that we're seeing. And then we're using price to tell us when the failed trend is about to fail and kick in. And this is really, really the design of the Wicker. I want to show you a couple examples of how it looks with multiple trades. So here's a great example of like when you get a leg in the market, as soon as you get a reversal, these are killer trades. You get the first big wick that comes right after a reversal, and it normally produces an incredible trade. See here, you get a reversal, you get the first big wick, and then it creates a great trade. You get a reversal, get the first big wick, and you get a huge killer trade. These wicks are everything to the system, right? And the point of the matter is that we're using this to be able to identify killer trades for when we don't get a trend or in the wrong environment, right? Because normally if you're trading a trend, this would look like this, and you have a pullback, and then it would push like this. But we don't do that because we modify the environments. We modify how the price looks. And so what's really nice is you can trade this with very, very tight stops, or you can trail price. Like if I got into the market right here, I could literally move this stop up and trail price all the way up here and basically get out up here. And so this is really, really something that we've traded. We've used this. I've seen traders use this heavily. And this is why we do this. Has anybody ever done this before? Has anybody ever changed the bars on anything like this? Has anybody ever done something like this with price action? No? Renko still new to you? Renko's still new to Chad. Kurt's done something like this. Sharpshooter's done. Anil's never. I just challenge you right now to basically go on. If you're using the Renko bars, literally go on and change the Renkos. Like for the NASDAQ, we'll use like a 50 tick bar, right? And a 200 tick reversal. Like it's incredibly large. And what it does is it allows us to create huge moves in the market. Like here's the S&P, and you can see it like as soon as the market gives you a big reversal, almost 9 times out of 10, right after the reversal, you're going to get a section of wicks that come in. And what these wicks do is these wicks create an opportunity for when price just gives you the failed breakdown and it just explodes. You get a reversal like this, and then right away, you got a wick on the next candle. If you take a look, there was this big giant wick here, and that wick is not big enough to reverse the market back the other way. So what ends up happening is you get a huge short. And what's really cool is you can trade this for tight strategy, like tight base hits. And then basically you can ultimately just have short targets or even large targets, right? Chad says, did you... No, we've built this system years ago, Chad. If you go to our NinjaTrader company, we developed software on the NinjaTrader platform as well over the years, and we've had this system out for years. Yeah, yeah, this strategy works very, very well. We have the data that shows this. Yeah. Yeah, we'll show you the stats here in a second so you can understand the profit factors and the win percentages of what we've done. Yeah, it's quite impressive. And what really matters is the actual bars. What matters is the bars, because every time you change the fractals, you get different price views, right? Like how you modify the bars is everything to do this. And it takes a lot of testing. Like you're not going to just like take a look at this. This is a great example of just the S&P. And the S&P, you get a big reversal, you get the first wick, big trade. Big reversal, the wick was on the second bar, trade. Big reversal, there was no wicks until the middle of the leg, then you get a big trade, right? And we optimize the size of the wicks. Like one of the things that's very cool about the strategy is that we don't take trades on like see this wick here or these little tiny wicks. We don't want to take trades on like little teeny wicks because they don't really do much. There's no follow through in the strategy. There's no follow through. So when we do this, we want to optimize the size of the wick so that we get a really, really meaningful trade that comes out of this. Does that make sense to you guys? Right. And this is something that, like, if you look at the ES here, like this is 4, 20, and 3, you'll see that the more you drop the bars down to smaller fractals, you're going to get more scalps. If you use bigger trades, you're going to get less trades, but bigger trades, right? It really just depends. And you can really modify the bars in a way where you can get big moves like this. And you can see, like, this is a great example of the NQ where we're using a 20 tick bar, right? Very, very small Renko, but 150 tick reversal. Like it takes a huge move to be able to reverse the market. And you'll see this is one we use with a trailing stop where you get in the market and we don't even have a target. We just get out when the next wick comes in. And then this gets out when the next wick comes in and gets out with the wick. Same thing here. And this is where you can just see like the strategy started up here and it ended up here. And it really is something to be used because what really this is just price, right? Like you're not using indicators, you're not using lagging information, you're using the wicks of the legs to get into the trade. And it takes a lot to reverse the market when you use 150 tick reversal. Like you need 150 tick move for the price bar to change direction, which to me is excellent because you're not all over the market. Like traders get stuck. These wicks create noise on a different bar. Like it tells you a story. Like these are in a normal market, this would look like this, right? It would look all crazy. And traders have a hard time understanding how to read price at best. This really simplifies the noise down. And here's another example of using trailing stops in the leg on the way down. And here's another example of huge R runners. So we optimize the strategy for two different components. We can use short targets like this, where you can scalp for 1-to-1s. We also optimize where you could use like very 1 and 3R multiple targets where you risk $1 to make 3. And we've had great results with both. We have different templates for both. So if you're a trader that likes to have base hits, or if you're a trader that likes to have, let's say, large R multiples, we have templates that work for both. So it really just depends on the type of trader that you are. Now, we don't just start by just changing bars. What we do is we have a tool that's called the Algo engine. And the Algo engine, it allows us to take the strategy and plug it into the software. But that's about 20% of what we do. We build the signal. The rest of the work goes into this, which is about 80% of the testing. And we're testing the stop sizes. We're testing the targets. We test the time of day. We test money management. We test filters. We test directional trend. We test structure. And then what we do is we identify the best time of day and the best strategy and the best bars and the best variables so that when we do these events, we give you the template. So what's really nice is that you can have these templates. Like you don't have to worry about trying to figure things out. We will give you the desktop. The desktop already comes pre-configured with the bars set up the right way. You'll have the template so you don't have to do anything. And there's no settings to change. With this system, because it's a price action system, there's no indicators to optimize. There's nothing you need to do other than just let price happen and trade the system. And what's really, really cool here is that you don't need to worry about doing much. You just need to learn how to turn it on. And that's one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about this strategy is that this isn't like some of the other algos where you need to test the system and test the tools or test the indicators and have a lot of testing. This is literally as dummy proof as it gets because we're literally just using the Renko bars and then we're using the size of the wicks to determine when we get into the trade. And I promise you, you're going to have good results with this because it's something that we've been using for years on the NinjaTrader side with many traders, and now we've brought it over to Tickblaze. Now, I want to show this how it works. Like I want to play this. We filmed some videos so you can understand it, and you're going to see that as soon as price reverses, or price reverses here, what we're looking for is we're looking for a reversal. And then we're looking for a big wick that fails and then trades all the way back up and closes so that it rips to the upside. And you're going to see how that works here. Press play here and we'll just do that. So you can see how price is traded here. We have a reversal candle. And then as soon as that big wick dropped and as soon as it closes, we're waiting for the impulse to kick in from the failed wick. And it's normally we call that a reversal retest, right? When the market reverses, you're normally going to get a retest right after the reversal. And that's normally what kicks the big impulse move in play. And this is why it works. Exactly. Markets are already in play. And that's the whole point. Normally, when you see these right after the reversal, that's normally some of the best trades. You're going to get a reversal, a retest. The market's testing the reversal. And then basically, bam, it just kicks in. I'll show you another example here. And we'll just play it here. It's the market comes up. It gave you a reversal here at the top. You can see the retest here in the wick. And as soon as the price closes down, It closes, tight stop, base hit target, and you can trail your stop at any time. You don't have to let the algo just completely run fully automated. You could drag your stop down and trail your price however you choose. But yeah, it's very fun to use, Sharpshooter. It's a very, very fun system. Yeah. It's very profitable too. It's some of the best testing we've seen. Yeah. Yeah. Here's another example of here's a great example of the market drops. You can see here this right here is where traders get smoked. The big drop up and the big drop up. This is consolidation. Like if you can't understand that these equal highs and lows here, it took a lot for the market to go 150 ticks this way, then 150 ticks that way, and then 150 ticks this way. This is a big range on a smaller time frame. People just don't know what that means. But when you modify the bars, you remove the noise. Like normally on any other time frame, it would have looked like this, right? But because we modify the bars, you just get a big move up, and then you get a big move down, and then you get a retest with a wick, and then it drops down, and we just take the trade. And that's exactly what this trade did here. So let's see if we get another reversal here, and then we get a retest, and then we get another move this way. That's exactly how the strategy works. So let's take a look at this. So this was a mid-leg trade, actually. So it didn't reverse. This was a mid-leg trade. This one comes in here, huge wick in the middle of the impulse for a continuation. And you can get that. You can have multiple trades in one leg, or you can get a reversal and get the retest right after. And you can see price comes up, fails to give the reversal. See the big wick? It takes a lot for price to reverse when you modify the reversal on the Renko. It's the whole key of the system. It's the whole concept of what we're doing. It's why it's called the Wicker trading system, right? You get these huge wicks, and these wicks are the entries. When those wicks fail to reverse, it's because the market can't reverse further. So the market's going to absorb those trades and they're going to take them the other opposing direction. Here's another great example of big, big push up. We'll give you an example of how this works. You can see here, market goes up. There's a wick in the continuation. You can see the trailing stop, took the entry, basically trails the leg up. So it's going to trail up. And depending on how tight you trail, you can capture a huge move in this when you implement a trailing stop. It gives you the trade and the market just keeps going. It's all in how you set that up. Yeah, it was called the Wicker Sky. We called it the Wicker there. The hybrid algo Sky. It was called the hybrid algo. Yeah, but we didn't use the other part of the system, so we only use the Wicker in this. Yeah. Yeah. Great. How many of you guys think this is quite impressive? Type a yes if this is something completely new to you or completely different than what you're used to seeing. Yeah, it's quite impressive. Yeah, it's very simple, Dan, exactly. But what's really important is that it makes money. Like and the reason it makes money is it's a common concept, right? The market reverses, you get a wick retest, it gives you explosive moves, right? And these hybrid bars change the way in which you look at the market, right? Like I'll give you an example, right? If I come in here and I load Tickblaze, I'm just going to grab a chart for a second. Give me a second. I'm going to go here and I'm going to grab this is going to be a demo wicker, right? So I'm going to grab a desktop and I'm going to show you this. We're going to load a desktop here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do this. We're going to open up a demo and I'm going to show you something here for a second. I'm literally optimizing strategies as we speak because that's all we do is we test systems here. So I'm going to show you this, right? We're going to come in here. I'm going to connect to a data connection. Give it a second. Okay, so I'm just going to load a chart. And we're going to load a chart of, let's say, the ES. Okay. And I'm going to show you today's price action so you can understand what it's doing when we look at these bars. And give it a second to load data. It's because I'm optimizing a strategy. It's taking a little extra time in the background, right? So here's some price candles. Okay. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to show you an example of this. So let's go in here. We're going to go to the Renko BXT bars. So if I go to the Renko BXT bars, I can take this to like a 6-tick range, a 6-tick bar, and I can cause a 30 tick reversal, which means it's 5 times the bar size that needs to reverse. Watch what happens. Like this is today, right? This is today on a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart. You can see up here the normal drop off the open, huge flush off the overnight lows. And basically, look at what happened here. Okay, we're going to just watch the modified price candles when we change the system. I'm going to just change the bars. Okay. And you're going to see a completely different market. Like it's incredible what you're going to see when the strategy produces the Renkos. And the reason I think this is incredible is because when you understand the power of modifying the reversal and the offsets inside of the price candles, there's hidden strategies that you wouldn't even know existed. There's hidden alpha that you don't even realize is just staring at you in the face. You just need to understand what it's doing. And we're going to go in here, we're going to take a look at this, and you're going to see it once it loads the tick data here. I've got a few days it's going to load. We're going to show you here. These colors, that's just the Asia, and that's the European session, right? So that's basically, yeah, the market. We're going to get into that. Give it a second here. Come on, Tickblaze, load the data. I've got an optimization in the background here. I could probably pause it, but I don't want to waste the time. It's almost unloading. One second. I'm just going to go and pause the optimization here for a second. There we go. And that should load quick now. Yeah, so take a look at this. Okay, this is today. So I can tell you right now, just by looking at this, that every single time the market reversed here, that would have been a trade. Okay, you might have got a stop out right here, right? Would have given you a big wicker, maybe got a stop out, but you would have had a big trade here. You would have had a trade here, right? There was no wick there, so there was no entry. There might have been a trade there, depending on how big the wick is, depending on how big the wick is, depending on the settings. Might have been a trade here, depending on this, right? And you can change that. Like if you don't want these reversals like this, you can modify this to even go bigger. Like I can go to a 60 tick bar and I can modify this to, let's say, 50 ticks. Watch what happens. You can have a completely different look of the market. And why is this important? Well, because look at this. I can tell you right now that if you had just done it like this, you would have had crazy, crazy profitable day in the S&P. You would have had a trade right here, and you would have been able to ride that baby all the way down to this reversal right here. And this is why I love this type of trading is that I know traders from the past that have used this strategy, modified the bars so big like this that they don't take a lot of trades. But as soon as the reversal happens, they are armed and cocked and ready to go. And I'll give you an example. Here was the low a day. It's interesting how you can see this. You can take the reversal here, and then there's the trade right there. And you could have taken this trade right here and that trade right there, and you could have made a whack load of money because you're taking the entry right on the first set of wicks after the retest. And you would have even had a trade here because the market, if the downtrend is down, clearly it's down. We're making lower lows and lower highs, right? So you would have taken a trade here. If you maybe didn't see the market, maybe you could have taken a trade here because these are big enough to take the trades. But I can tell you right now that this is big enough to take the trade. That's big enough to take the trade. That's big enough to take the trade. These wicks are very small. They might not have passed. That's definitely big enough to take the trade. And so is this. And this is why modifying these bars is everything. Most traders don't realize that this is a huge opportunity that's just staring them in the face. You don't even realize it's there. It's just how you look at the market, right? And on days where you get these big runs, you can have huge, huge ways. And it's just a data modification. All we're doing is modifying the way in which you look at data and then finding opportunity inside of that to exploit alpha. And this is how we do it. This is exactly what this strategy is designed to do. And let me show you the performance. Let me go back into the PowerPoint for a second. and let's talk about the strategy performance because we've optimized this on certain settings. And by all means, that we're not done by all means. Like there's great performance in this. And so like we've tested this and this is a strategy template with an 82% win rate with a 2.5 profit factor over the last 64 trades. This is incredible, right? And this is literally just the last 2 weeks, right? So over the last 2 weeks, think about that. 2 weeks, 64 trades. So how many trades is that in a week? Yeah, it's 30, 32 trades in a week. That's a lot of opportunity. 82% profitability, right? This is a zero point 0.5 target. So this is a scalping template. This is a scalping template for prop firms, right? Here's another example, different template. This is a 1.5 R multiple template, so a larger R multiple. So yeah, it is insane stats, Patrick. It's insane stats. That's why everybody says, have you got stats on the strategies? It's incredible stats. It's one of the best testing systems we have. And you've got 74 trades, right? And you've got literally in the last 2 weeks, 74 trades. And this is with a 1.6 R multiple, meaning you risk a dollar to make 1.6 and you're dealing with a 2.2 profit factor. That's insane. Like, yeah, the MAEs aren't too bad for this strategy either. Exactly. That's the whole point. You don't take a lot of heat on the strategy. And so it really just depends. Like, if you're somebody that's wanting to scalp with 0.5 targets, or if you're somebody who wants a little bit of a bigger target, we have both. But like, this is just on the bars that we've tested. Like some of you are going to really go to town with this. I know that some of you are going to sit there for a day and probably just tweak the bars for a day. Like I get passionate about that because I've looked at the NASDAQ from different settings and the NASDAQ runs like you get these big markets like the Russell, right? Like I'll give you an example. Like let's bring another template up here and let's bring the Russell for a second, right? Let's bring this down and like I like to look at markets that trend a lot because I like to get bigger runners, big running markets. So let me show you an example here. Okay, I'm going to bring the desktop here for you, an example. And this is something that is exciting. So let's go to the Russell. Okay. And I like to test markets that have very low tick data. So like if you want to load data fast, like gold loads very quickly, the Russell loads very quickly. The Russell is a big market for big runners. And like I wanna show you what we're looking at here. And give you an example. And we're gonna modify the Russell with like a 10 tick bar with like a 100 tick reversal. We're gonna see some crazy stuff here. Like, and the Russell gives some big moves. And the reason I like the Russell, it's an independent market from say the S&P and the NASDAQ. You don't get false moves in the legs. You don't get random spikes and stuff that happen in say some of the other markets. So I'm going to make this is too fast for me. So what I would do is I would come in here and I'll go here and I would change this to a 10 tick bar and I would put this to like a 100 tick reversal and I would change it to like an 8 tick offset, right? And let's just go here. Let's just load three days of data. Okay, watch this. Take a look at this. You can see even yesterday, like I can tell you right here, like even yesterday off the open, there was a huge wick right here. That was a big trade. Wicked trade, right? Like here right off the open, right as soon as the market reversed, right off the open, huge wick. If you didn't trade that, there's your trade right there. Huge runner, big. You got the whole leg, right? And that's the whole point. Like you can do this on gold, you can do this on any market, right? And always wait for like if you're in a down day, right? Always wait for structure changes. Like I always wait for a structure change. If I'm going to trade this, like I can see here, like this is I'm making lower lows, lower highs, right? It broke down, lower lows. I'm looking for shorts, right? Here, right? We made a higher high here. So it wouldn't be until after I broke this where I'd want to trade that long or even this long. And you can see here, like we're literally the market's trying to reverse here. But if this fails and this doesn't reverse and it goes all the way back up, there's another long coming happen here. And yeah, one could practically retire trading two good pre-market trades per day, Sharpshire. Yes, you could. Yeah, I could. You could do some big things. And like if you want to load the NASDAQ, because I know everybody loves to trade the NASDAQ up in here. All right, let's go to the NQ. The wicks are everything. The wicks are everything. So I'm going to go to a 10 tick bar and a 100 tick reversal. Here, we're going to go over this for a second. I'm going to go into the NQ for a second, show you. Okay, so see how this noise? See that noise? It's too small of a bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to, let's say, a 50 tick bar. I'm going to change this to like a 300 tick reversal and a 40 tick offset. Crazy, like stuff you've never even seen before. Watch. Boom, there's your trades. Look at the leg that just came off the open. So the market had a huge opportunity right here. Look at this. Right off the open, the market reversed here. Look at that wick right there. You see that? That's your short. Your whole leg here. Get another reversal down. There's your short right there. That whole leg down. Another reversal down. There's your short. Whole way down. You get another long. There's your long right here. These longs, these wicks. You can choose whichever one you wanted to. And as an algo trader, we get to optimize the data. But you could also do this discretionarily too. So like it doesn't matter what you do. You could look at this from both angles, right? And if you look at gold, for those of you who want to trade gold, right? Take a look at GC. Let me change gold and change the market. Like GC, great market to trade. Let's load the data. See, that's too big of a bar. Way too big of a bar for gold. So I would drop the setting down to maybe a 10 tick bar, 100 tick reversal, and then I would do an 8 tick offset. Give me bet. Yeah, that's look at gold. So gold, look at this. Get a big reversal bar, and then what comes right after it? The retest. Huge leg. Okay. No wicks in this leg, no trades. Big reversal. See how small that is? Too small. Maybe you would have had a trade there or here all the way down. These are continuations. What are these? This is a downtrend. Spike up, downtrend, push, downtrend, push. But you're not reading it like that. Like, look at this. There's a huge continuation trade right in the middle of the leg. Boom, dropping down. Huge short stay on gold. Incredible. You probably don't even need the markets giving you these trades. And this is why we built this into an algo, because we can optimize it. And it's called the hybrid algo, David. Yeah, on the NinjaTrader side, it's the hybrid algo. Yeah. Yeah. We have this strategy on Tickblaze, which is called the Wicker. We also call it the hybrid algo on NinjaTrader. So you can trade it on both platforms. If you're interested to buy this on NinjaTrader, just send an email in. We can give you a link to get the algo on the NinjaTrader side as well. So, how many of you guys think this is incredible? Like, to me, I love this because I love the fact that it's price based. You can see the trades, they're screaming at you. When the reversal happens, look for the wick and then boom, jump on it. And the data is incredible. Like, we're talking like incredible stats. So, like, I don't know about you, but like I can smell money here. And if you like to make money, that's why we build tools so that you can make money, right? So let's give away a license. How many of you guys would love to win a license? Pete, you want to put the link in here for a giveaway? This would be a good time for you guys to put your name in. We're going to give away a free license. Love for you guys to win the software. Hopefully you guys can have Lady Luck on your side. Great. Now this will be an opportunity for you to ask any questions while we're filling out your names on the survey so we can pick winner. And we'll give it a second. You guys just got to fill out the link. Yeah, David, the wicks are the market maker grabbing fuel to drive the market pump and dump. Yeah, well, that's why we don't that's why we modify the reversal. That's why we modify the reversal to be huge. Yeah, I'm in Mexico right now, Amar. I'm on 6:30 open. Yeah. 6:30 open is my time. Yeah. Exactly. Don't fight the system and base the gains. Exactly.
All right, Sean, we got a winner.
Fantastic. Who's the winner today, Pete?
Today is Stephen Epke. I think it's Epke. I'll put it in the chat.
Stephen Epke. Congratulations, Stephen. You're the winner, chicken dinner. Hopefully you guys enjoy the system. Hope you make some money off of it. It's always great. Congratulations, Stephen. Are you here? I'm not sure if Stephen's here. He has to be here. He filled out his name. Stephen, are you here? He fell off his chair. He's so excited. I think he's here. Yeah, he should be here. Yeah. Congratulations, Stephen. As David says, that was my chicken dinner. So we're going to go over the strategy and we're going to talk about how you can get it. We're going to talk about the pricing. We're going to talk about the discounts. We're going to talk about how we run this, et cetera, right? And then you guys can take advantage of it. Tomorrow, we're going to be running an AMA with our development team. And you guys can get up to speed with the strategy. Now, remember, we've pre-built the templates for you. And we've pre-built all of the resources so you don't have to do anything. You literally just come to the AMA, set up the desktop, turn it on and run it, right? And that's the way we do it. So I'm going to go over the pricing now. Because this is a launch, we're doing a huge discount. Drop in price is massive, okay? You're going to get the core engine. You're going to get the signal system with the Wicker and all of the optimized templates. All of the training that comes with our systems. You get user documentation. We can install the strategy for you. We give you live training. We'll also give you the access to the community. But we're doing an AMA tomorrow, which is the main part of this. You want to make sure that you're, well, Chad, you're missing out. It's here. It's from here to this. So I'm not sure if you missed that. It's 94.70 down to 17. We just gave an extra 200 off because of the webinar. So the normal price is 94.70. So the discounted price is 17.95. So you're looking at about 90% off. Yeah. And so basically, the way we price this 19.95 is normally other discounts, but we're taking an extra 200 off just because of the webinar. So there's other vendors out there that'll sell strategies and algos for like 5 grand and 10 grand, et cetera. But we like to drop the price down so that we can work with a lot more traders and give you guys better price tags and save a whole lot on the system. Now, for those of you that are going to be trading the strategy, you'll get access to the AMA tomorrow. It's 12 Eastern time. Okay. And basically, you'll have access to us. You'll have access to our team. We're going to go over the strategy. We're going to go over all the settings. We're going to go over everything and basically show you how to use it. We'll show you how to test it, show you how to set it up. But you guys can use the optimization templates that we've already built. You don't have to do anything. You guys can literally just load the desktop. And if you want to change the bars and use it on other markets, you can. But at least you can trade it on the NASDAQ and the S&P, which are the two markets that we've optimized. Yeah. And so remember, Tickblaze is free for those of you that are not using the platform and you want to take advantage of the algos. You don't have to buy the platform. You can download it or use it through one of our prop firm partners. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is the marketplace, right? So this is a great opportunity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over here now. I'm going to put a poll. We need to ask the poll because it helps us help you, so to speak. And if you're buying the algo, please put a yes in the poll. If you'd like to speak to our team, put your phone number in. The reason we ask this is so that we can help you. We want to make sure that we can be of assistance to you. And if you want us to help you set it up, or if you want us to help you log on your computer or work with you, we can do that. Ultimately, the goal for us is to be able to help you make a lot more money than you're doing now, right? Is this better than TrendBreaker? It's not that it's better, Patrick. It's different, right? TrendBreaker and the divergence algos are completely different. So, I mean, for me personally, this is easier, a lot easier. Why is this easier? Less moving parts, less mechanics to give you the trade signal, less things required to execute. And you're going to have an opportunity to basically trade an easier system. It's a lot easier than divergence or TrendBreaker. Yeah. All of the strategies we have are great systems. It's not for us to tell you which one is better or worse. The data tells the story, right? We believe in the data. I'm a big believer of data, and I'm a big believer of algorithmic information, right? And the data for this strategy is incredible. Like the stats on the strategy are incredible, right? So that's all that matters to me. If I'm going to be a trader, can I make the price back in one trade? The answer is yes. You could literally have one trade, pay for the algo, and then you're in profit, right? So it's like, to me, it's a no-brainer, right? To be able to use the strategy, make a couple trades. I mean, if you make a couple $100 trades and you pay for the system, yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a money-making machine, to be honest. Yeah. So for those of you who'd like to speak with our team, you can put your name in the chat box. You can put your name in there and basically do that. Yeah. Thank you for all of you that are putting yes. Obviously, this is a great decision. I'm excited to see what you can do for it. For those of you that are not in the market for another algo, hey, there's always another event or there's always another promo. There's always another day, right? But I can assure you that this is a strategy that I can stand behind. We've used it. We've seen it. We've traded it. I know lots of traders using it on the other platforms. It's something worth talking about. Great. Amazing. Well, traders, listen, I want to thank you guys for being here. I'll let you fill out the poll for another minute or two. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. And obviously, we put a lot of energy into these development resources, launches, the products, etc. If you ever have any questions or you need assistance, you can always reach out to us. For those of you that are putting your name in the chat box, you can easily just fill in your name or fill in your number, and we'll call you back and go over all your questions for sure. Yeah. Great. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next event. Take care, traders. Have a fantastic day.